Good morning, guys. As of this morning, we are in Virginia, headed northbound. Plan is about 16 miles, 16 to 17 miles. It looks like there are two uphills, neither of them too extreme, but along this route. Only outlier is the fact that my knee is more painful today than probably it has been, period. So I'm just going to take it off slow this morning, see if it doesn't get better when it warms up. It's been a little bit better doing that in the past. We have a little bit of a dreary morning, but it's supposed to clear after 9 o'clock, which is just not too long from now, about a half an hour, maybe like 8:36 right now. And we're going to just take her slow this morning, see how it goes. Coming into Virginia, you know, the whole anticipation is that Virginia is ridge running and a little bit flatter. We'll see about that. Sometimes these overall impressions are not true to the experiences, certainly day to day. And the generalization sometimes ends up being a disservice to you. It's great to be here. Wow, the fourth state, of course, my home state. And that's exciting. It's a big state. What are we at, 570 something as far as miles? You know, I'd like to be doing 20s, but my knee, I've just got to take care of it. I've got to protect it. At the end of the day, there's one number that matters, 2190.6, and whatever it takes to get there is what it takes to get there. So I'm not going to fixate on all these people passing me by or whatever happens over the next month that it takes me to get through to Virginia. Anyway, this morning is, like I said, a little wet. I think the rain's already stopped, I hope, for the day. And the rest of it is supposed to get, you know, a little warmer. Still supposed to be relatively cool. I think only in the mid-40s today. But then as the week goes on, you know, we're going to be in t-shirts. And, of course, I'm already in my kilt. All right. So let's get this going. This ain't much of a view, but you can see, I just want to let you see that we just sort of wander our way through the middle of town. All right, here's the transition out of Damascus. Okay, so we completed our first ascent. I believe that was roughly 1,000 feet. Then we do this flat area, and then we do another ascent of, I think, about 1,000 feet, maybe a little bit less. Then we go downhill quite a ways and take that elevation back. Ouch. Only to have the mountain, the next ascent, take it back from us, which I think is a more direct ascent, closer to 2,000 feet. Again, these are all rough numbers, but none of them are really exceptional compared to the elevations that we had in other areas of the trail. But each ascent can be, you know, challenging or whatever, depending on how it's designed. You can sort of see the elevated ground around us. And then, of course, even right in front of us, we're sort of scooting along the terrain of this hill, but the hill is quite dramatically higher in elevation than we are. So we're probably going around, and then we will hit a saddle between two peaks, go across that, and that's when we'll go to our second ascent there. Right now, it is myself, RTK, who actually got on trail before me. I passed him just a minute ago, but he's right here. And then right behind him are Bait Bolt or Bitbox and Play by Play. And their Play by Play fell and scraped his knee. So he may be moving a little bit slower than normal, but he's fine. I mean, it was nothing significant. So it's a nice morning. Really is a nice hiking morning. My knee is probably about a 6, approaching 7 level of pain. It's definitely getting, I don't know. I hate to use the term worse, but maybe it is just simply getting worse. After yesterday and the significant descents and with the little rock scramble, I guess I just exacerbated it again, and then it just kept stiffening up last night. And then, of course, once I went to bed, this morning it was practically frozen. Not frozen cold, frozen as in just tightening up. I did some exercises and stretches to try to, that had worked so well with the IT band stretches a couple days back that I really was hopeful, but thus far it has not helped at all. And even though it's warmed up, I don't mean temperature wise, but the muscles have warmed up, and everything around that knee, it still isn't loosening up. And the pain is really on the inside of the knee, vice the outside where that IT band is. I'm trying to take it careful as far as how I step and where I step to not exacerbate it, but I mean, these mountains, they are what they are. And the one thing about the AT is, it's like at least every other step, you're not actually on ground. You're on some sort of structure. You're on a root. You're on a rock. You're not on sort of the firm ground. And so you're constantly sort of twisting and twerking your ankles and knees and hips. Anyway, I mean, I'm actually, as far as hiking, I'm, jazzed to be hiking, jazzed to be out here. Definitely did not want to spend any more time in town. I'm really looking forward. It's like I have 5 days. This is probably the heaviest pack I've had regarding food. I have a solid 5 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, in my pack. And it's heavy. I have 2 liters of water. And so certainly, you can tell that when my pack's heavy because it squeaks. So I did notice the correlation between that. When you get up over 30 pounds in the Exos 58, it squeaks. And so, yeah, I sort of, ouch. I noticed that, again today. Hopefully it's not interfering too much with the audio here, but it's squeaking because of the weight. The only other issue I'm continuing to have, and I just can't solve it, is whatever's happening to that space between my toes and the ball of my foot. It feels like on both sides this time. Usually it's my right side. On both sides this time, I have sock material bunching up behind my toe pads in that space there and in front of the ball of my foot. And every single step is just shooting pain on that bone and ligament or whatever the structure is there of your toe. And again, right now, what the problem, of course, is it wants me to change my gait. Ouch. It wants me to change my gait. And that I'm really forcing myself not to do simply because of the knee issue. I mean, I can honestly tell you that if this knee issue went over to the left knee also, I would have to go into a legitimate doctor. Orthopedic doctor, and have legitimate scans done to determine what the status of those components are in my knees. And that would be, I mean, I know what they're going to say on the right side. They're going to say, you've got to get off of it for weeks. Probably put me in a semi-soft or semi-firm cast and, have me hobble around on crutches for weeks to give it time to heal. And that's just, it's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. When there's a blowout, there's a blowout. But we're not stopping short of catastrophe. So everybody has to make their decisions in life. And that's the way I've made mine. The water flows continue to be beautiful. Quite full. Let's see here. Yeah, I guess we're coming up to some road. Just past the first shelter. We'll see what road this is. I've heard a dirty little secret that Grumpy and Gucci Girl are actually down in this neck of the woods and are looking to do trail magic at one of these road crossings. I don't think today, but in the next several days. It'd be cool. It'd be cool to actually meet them face to face and chat with them. Look at this fancy bridge, huh? Wow. Just shoot up here for a little bit, let you guys see. Okay, so that was one junction, and we will just pass the first shelter, and we will continue on. Just talk to you real briefly about yesterday. We had talked about the decision about doing a southbound slack pack from Tennessee 91 to Wilbur Dam. But what I didn't get much of a chance to talk about was sort of the trail angels who helped make that possible. So Tracy and Kirk, I'll show you their pictures here. They came from Morristown, Tennessee, and drove all the way out to pick me up at the dam and then bring me back to Damascus. And it was really exceptional. They came out and got there a little bit ahead of me, so they hiked up into the along the trail, you know, for 3 or 4 tenths of a mile, met me up there, and then we walked down, and at the end of the day, shared a lunch, shared a couple cocktails, and, you know, had a really good talk about, you know, the trail and just life, and I'm truly grateful to them for taking that time, going out of their way to, you know, give me that assistance and really support not just me, but the whole trail and people who do it. They seem to have a intense appreciation for the outdoors and for the trails themselves, so it's really nice. Anyway, you know, I just wanted to say special thanks to them. Right here, I think it's a little after noon. I brought my Subway sandwich from town to trail. There's a little fire pit here next to a beautiful water source and a nice wooden bridge. I wouldn't normally stop, but I'm only doing 16 miles today, and I am not going to overdo my knee. Maybe other guys will stop here with me, but I'll just swing you around and let you see sort of a pretty view that I'm gonna have as I eat my spicy Italian sub. Back there, and beautiful water course. And the sound of running water. Hey, that's what this is supposed to be about. Must be getting pretty close to the summit here. Summit of what? I have no idea, but let's check it out. So this is an interesting thing. This is the one weird, quirky thing about Virginia, which is just perplexing. So Virginia, they go through the bother of putting the two blazes on top of each other like this. And as you well know, that the top blaze is supposed to be shifted to the left or right of the bottom blaze to tell you which way the trail turns. In Virginia, it never does. It just is stacked right on top of the other one. Okay, right on top of the other one. And it just basically says, we'll just keep going. Except for, as you'll see here, the trail comes to a T intersection. And this is what keeps happening. I mean, they've put a lot of time into putting the two blazes there, but it always sort of says the same thing. You can see on the other tree coming southbound, those two are stacked right on top of each other, except for you don't actually go straight, because this is the T intersection right here, right? So straight would be up the hill, like is this, right? So while we're looking up the hill, let's just check this out, check this out, check it out. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you obviously can't go straight. If you look at the southbound one, they're stacked on top of each other. It says go straight. So let's just say you're walking down the hill like this, straight. If you look on the tree that's almost in the middle of the path there, you'll see a blue blaze. If you would actually go straight, it would take you under the blue blaze. You have to turn, as we just did. So the trail comes up, turns sharply to the right, and goes up this way. That's how the trail actually goes. But if you look at the blaze, it says straight. So isn't that crazy? But it's not just here. I mean, literally, this is like the probably 6th or 7th one. Woo! That was slippery. Well, probably about 4 miles from the shelter. I'll give you more information about that as we approach it, but we're now going through or past a series of water sources. It seems like it may be a weak water source at the shelter, so probably grab some water before we get there. The other issue with me, as a reminder, is that I'm on tablets. So I either use iodine, which isn't the best for you, but only takes 35 minutes to purify the water, or I use chlorine, which takes 4 hours. So 4 hours is quite a long time to plan ahead to make sure that you have it for your meals. Since I'm only about 2 hours from or less, water sources are really strong, so I think the water source at the site would be fine. This is a pretty little area. At the shelter would be fine, but there's almost no point in getting it there because of the time lag. So I think I'll just have to drag it up the hill. I don't know what this is. I don't think I've seen it on other people's videos. Maybe I've missed it. It is a long wooden bridge over a beautiful body of water. In fact, over a couple of them. Coming together. I'll bet this was a railroad trestle at one point. It strikes me as something with a railroad bridge that would span this.